Hi, my name is Damien. I'm here at the Iowa Car Show in beautiful Iowa, Wisconsin. I'm here with Jerome Pasillo, Vice President of Sales for Elio Motors. Jerome, thanks for taking the time for me today.
Oh, thanks for having us out. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, the pleasure's all mine, honestly. Getting able to drive the Elio, honestly, probably one of the most exciting things I've done under 10 miles an hour.
So you're going to tell people you did it?
Oh, definitely. It's the video's going raw up on the website for that.
Excellent.
I think it's going to be as good a sales thing as any of the presentations you do. Just being able to be inside of it, you know, it really shows how you guys are trying to change everything.
We are.
Honestly, the Elio, I've said it before, it's one of the few cars out there that looks like something that is designed for, 2015, 2016. A lot of cars don't have that kind of style to it.
Right.
If Ridley Scott did a George Lucas version of Blade Runner, you could Photoshop one of those into it and it wouldn't look out of place, honestly.
Right. No, that's true. Well, I think after 2008, we've all done a little bit of changing. The economy slipped. People lost their jobs, lost their homes. Some downsized because they wanted to. Some downsized because they had to.
Right.
And I think it's really opened up people's eyes to using the vehicles for the utility. The Elio fits that commuter utility perfectly.
Right. No, I personally understand that. I drive between 70 and 100 miles a day for work, and I'm doing it in a Pontiac Bonneville that gets 27 miles to the gallon.
Right.
Something like that would really change the way things are for me personally, as well as for a lot of our, a lot of the readers here for Upper Midwest.
Well, and at that price point, you don't sell your Bonneville. You're allowed to keep it, use it for what you bought it for, and this is just to and from work.
Yeah, something like that's a big thing, especially for here in the Midwest. We don't have a lot of public transportation options. Most places you're driving 20, 30 miles to get to anywhere.
Right.
From where I live, the nearest Walmart's a 20-mile drive.
Yeah.
You can't just hop on the bus and go get groceries or anything like that. You need a car.
You do.
And it seems like, especially at this price point, when the option is a used car or a new Elio, I think the new Elio really is a winning option.
We think so too.
Now, being from the Midwest, though, snow's a big concern from us.
Yeah.
How is the Elio designed to be able to handle snow?
Well, we are a Detroit-based company, so being able to handle in all weather is important for us because we commute every day.
Yeah.
What we've done is we've designed it with a front-engine, front-wheel drive system. We put 70% of the weight of the vehicle over the driving wheels, so much better for performance and traction. Then we give it a ground clearance about the same as a Ford Focus. Okay. So if you could drive the Ford Focus out in the snow that day, you can certainly drive your Elio. But some days it's a Jeep day and you need a Jeep. So.
Right. Now I've seen press shots of it being driven in the snow. And I was told by your staff that you were the one driving it.
Yes.
How did it handle in the snow?
Well, it was much more predictable than I thought it was going to be. And again, this is a prototype that doesn't have our drivetrain in it. It does not have traction or stability control or analog brakes in it. So I did a few passes around the cameraman who was literally laying on the ground in those shots.
Right.
I wanted to get close, but not too close. I didn't want to break the camera.
Right.
So it was very predictable. I had to pull up on the emergency brake to find out where the braking point would be. So very natural.
So even though it only has the one tire in the back, it doesn't have a tendency to hang the back end out in the snow.
Yeah, because there's no spinning going on there. It's just a tail dragger, basically.
Okay. What design is specifically of the chassis of it is designed to help counteract the effects of snow and salt? Rust is a big issue for up here. I've seen cars 2008, 2009, serious corrosion issues.
Well, there's a couple of things that involve corrosion. We do use a martensitic steel for our frame, so it's protected. And then our body panels are a sheet molded compound. They're not steel.
Okay.
So that does help as well. But manufacturers, as of late, they do a very good job of ventilating the frame. You've got to have a place for the water to get out.
Yeah.
And years ago we used to Z-bar it and do all that stuff, right? Well, that plugs all the holes up. So if you get any moisture, it stays, in that frame. Not a good idea. So
I had an '88 Ram 50 that it had the box frame and it had chunks of the frame missing after it because there was no place for the water or the dirt to go, like you said.
Right. Well, and when you live here, it's easy for people to tell you to have it rust-proof.
Right.
And you think you need it, but really today's manufacturing process allows for much more efficient and corrosion-free body.
One of the concerns that I have had with it is I know it has the wheel covers on it, and it looks like the rear one specifically is supposed to stay there with the license plate on it. Does it have issues with getting buildup of snow and ice inside the wheel covers?
Yeah, I can answer that from the experience we had driving in the snow. I had hired a group to pressure washers because it's a video, so I didn't want salt all over the side of it right between shots. So you're shooting things 4 or 5 times every time.
Right.
So I was prepared to take the fenders off, spray them out, put them back on. When we took them off, there was nothing in it.
Interesting.
And if you notice, the windows on that don't go up or down. So every time I turned left, I was kind of squinting, waiting for that salt to spray in my face. It never did. And you'll see in our videos, there's no moisture, no salt, no anything on the side door. So the vendors do a really good job.
Okay. Speaking of windows, I have had a chance to sit inside the back seat of the Elio, and it is a bit claustrophobic. You're trapped in by the front seat. The windows don't go down. You're kind of stuck back there. Are there plans for the production models to have a roll-down window or something like that, especially in case of an accident?
Well, what we're looking at as an option, and it may come on future models, not the first model, but future models, is the old pop-out windows.
Okay.
So the triangle, just unlatch it and let it bend, and that should help. There's also an option we're looking at of a glass top.
Okay.
And I think for people that have space issues, right, that having that glass opens everything up. Same size, but the spacious feeling.
You feel a little more spacious, not so much.
Now from P3 to P4, we lowered the sill on the back window down a few inches. It used to be up higher.
I remember that.
Right? So now with it lower, it gives a little bit more open feel.
It wasn't uncomfortable by any means. I'm 6 feet tall, and I was able to fit it in the back seat comfortably.
I'm not.
It felt a little claustrophobic because there's no way out if something happens.
Well, we designed the vehicle again to be your commuter. So it's not often that you have somebody in the back seat, probably 10% of the time.
Right.
But when you do, you'd like to know that they're comfortable as well. The air conditioning vents blow back there as well.
Okay. One of the things I know my readers are going to ask me is, it's a common thing that they're asking, will it be? Can you fit a child safety seat in the back seat of the Elio?
Yeah, it was designed with the child tether system, the latch system.
So it does have the latch system?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't notice it. Is it in the P4?
It is not.
Okay, but it will be in the production model. Okay, excellent. One thing I have been talking with my staff and asking on is, was there any discussion on putting the door on the curb side as opposed to the street side? With a single passenger vehicle like this, it seems like it would make a lot of sense for you to be able to exit on the curb side instead of into traffic, especially with the size of the door on the Elio in order to offer the rear entry.
Well, we wanted to make it as close a realistic experience that you're used to as possible. So the shifter is on the right. Putting the door there would force us to put the shifter on the left.
Right.
Now, an automatic may not take long to get used to. If you want to stick shift, shifting with your left hand may be a little awkward or something.
Right.
The other thing, though, we don't think about, especially up here, if you go to the older cities like New York, Philly, the curbs are hot. And you don't want to not be able to open your door because there's a curb there. And that's not something we designed for. That's just the reality of what happens when you do things like that.
That's a good idea. I hadn't taken that into account. I was looking at it from, I've worked in salvage yards. I've seen a lot of crashed vehicles.
Yeah.
And I know the Elio is designed to shed parts in case of an accident.
Yes.
The most common accident we would see is an offset, what we call a headlight-to-headlight accident. On the Elio, it's going to peel off the left side tire. And if the vehicle were to fall over, then after that, you're not going to have an easy way to get out, especially for the backseat passenger.
Right. And well, when a collision happens at any time, and working in the industry, it'll typically bend the frame. And once you bend the frame, you could have 10 doors, and none of the 10 doors will open.
Right.
They're frozen. The key is to have a bigger window. So all coupes have a bigger window, right? Because they only have 2 doors. You get into sedans and you get the same size space, but with smaller windows, so it's more difficult to get out. So I know what you're saying, but I think the coupe design itself lends itself to accidents.
So it should be an easy egress out of the passenger window.
Yes.
Okay. Is the Elio going to have specific options available for winter use, for the person in the cold climate?
Yeah, if a manufacturer makes it, we will do it. Lear is our seat supplier.
Okay.
They make a heated seat, they make an air conditioned seat, they make a vibrating seat, a massage seat. Whatever they make, if it fits in the Elio, we can do it.
Okay.
So yes, and the options list with Elio is a topic of its own. We don't package anything, so if you want that heated seat, you don't have to take the sunroof and the outlet with you.
Right.
You may not want that. Everything is kind of a la carte. And if our suppliers make it, we will offer it on the Elio.
So the Elio is going to have a very, very large option.
Huge list, yes.
with the polycarbonate panels that you were speaking of, is the Elio designed for a lot of post-purchase customization, like the smart car? I know one of the former smart president, is on the board of directors right now. Is that going to be that same type of customization available on the Elio?
Yeah, his name's Dave Shembry, and yeah, the customization portion of it's important. And every option on the Elio, every one of them, we do post-production, except for the transmission.
Right.
So anything you want has to be done by the supplier in a manner that it doesn't look like it was glued on, right? It's got to look like it was part of the vehicle, and they know that. So yes, anything you do, if you decide in your budget you can do the vehicle this year and the transmission and maybe upgrade the stereo. But you want to do the navigation and rear view camera later. You can, and it'll be the same thing.
Okay, so you'll be able to return to the dealer at the dealer location and drop the vehicle off and come back in a couple of days.
Yeah, or Pep Boys.
Now, here in Wisconsin, honestly, I don't know of a Pep Boys location in the entire state.
Okay. I didn't do my homework. So.
So what options are going to be available for the purchaser who doesn't live in an area where there is a Pep Boys, the authorized service dealer for this?
Well, we haven't come up with the solution yet, but we are working on a solution for it. And needless to say, you will have a place to bring the vehicle to be serviced. I just don't know what it is yet to name it.
Okay. Let me see here. Oh yes. Your staff was telling me about how the car is designed to break away in the case of an accident. It's designed to shed parts to reduce the kinetic energy in order to protect the occupants. With that, combined with the low cost of entry for the car, are you anticipating that there may be high insurance costs for it because if anything happens to it, the vehicle is essentially going to be written off and replaced?
Yeah, and when you think about the price of the Elio at $1,600, it makes us a very likely candidate for cheap insurance. Because to replace it is nothing. Insurance companies will have to go and reevaluate what their threshold is for totaling the vehicle. But today maybe 20%, but it was 20% of $20,000. So it's a lot more money.
Right.
In our case, it's not. We can't total a car for $500.
Right.
So there will be other solutions for it. Yeah, the insurance companies like it because number one, we're engineered with the highest safety. So versus a motorcycle, where you and I are the exoskeleton on it,
right. We are the crash structure.
Right, exactly. And then the replacement cost of us versus a motorcycle are a lot less. So the insurance companies like that. The reason it will be a little bit higher than a motorcycle is you will use this as your daily driver. Whereas a motorcycle may be used for 4 months and then it's put away for the other. Especially here, right?
Right.
You can use it 2 weeks and we're done.
Yeah, the tagline on our site for the longest time was Upper Midwest Oppo, where it snows 6 months a year. So.
Right, yes.
Right now in Wisconsin, the Elio is classified as a motorcycle. It's in the same classification as a slingshot or a Can-Am Spider. I know Elio is working on changing that and introducing a new classification for the car itself. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, legislation was introduced by Senator Bitter, Louisiana. It would define the Elio as an autocycle. And the definition of an autocycle will be fully enclosed with automotive airbags, automotive seat belts, a steering wheel instead of handlebars, and automotive control. So yes, and once that's done, it'll define a new category. So then the insurance companies and everybody else that are associated with the industry know what to call it and know what to do.
And while I have a motorcycle license myself, so while a motorcycle classification for the Elio would help some consumers, lower cost of insurance, perhaps, definitely lower registration costs, definitely getting it reclassified seems like it would help Elio a lot by opening the customer base that can purchase it.
Sure, and it has. You know, the Elio will also qualify for things like DHOD, which is technically a motorcycle.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
The Elio is going to be coming standard with traction and stability control.
Yes.
As an enthusiast, I have to ask, can it be turned on?
Yes.
I did post that I was going to be doing this interview yesterday.
Now the stability control may not be able to, I'm not sure on the stability control.
It may be something where it can be turned down but not necessarily off.
The traction control though, you know, is with snow drivers, you need to be able to turn it on.
Right.
You need to be able to spin a little bit to get down to the concrete.
Right. Jump cut. I posted on social media and on my website that I was going to be doing this interview yesterday, and I had a few people comment on things that they just told me I have to ask you about it.
Shoot away.
Can it do a burnout?
Yeah, it can do a burnout.
If you put a lunch tray under the back wheel and lock the e-brake, can you do donuts with it?
great point. I don't know. Let's try it. Let's try it.
I'm all for it. Will the sports version be available with a Suzuki Hayabusa motor?
Find out. Don Garlic.
Well, motorcycle engines are a little bit different, and that's kind of against the idea of what Elio's about. We want simple automotive access. But if what we're looking for is power, rather than a different engine, we're looking for more power, there are solutions we're looking at outside of normally aspirated, so turbochargers, superchargers, things like that.
Or twin charging, perhaps.
Both.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also was asked, will there be a super sports version with a small block Chevy in it?
It's a good question. I kind of, right at this point, it violates our tenets of 84 miles per gallon, $6,800. But in the future, who knows? As the company grows, there'll be a lot of options to look at.
All right. Well, Jerome, thank you for taking the time for me today. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for making the time. All right, guys.
And thank you for making the Elio.
Yeah.